Hi, welcome. I want to tell you a story today which is one of Jesus's most famous parables of all time. Whenever Jesus told stories, everybody wanted to listen, and this parable was no exception. Sometimes thousands of people would sit and watch Jesus for hours, listening to the words he had to say, watching the amazing things that he did, but also listening to his amazing stories, which always had an important meaning. And one day, Jesus was telling a story of a shepherd. Now, back in the country where Jesus lived, the country of Israel, many people looked after sheep. But this shepherd, he had 100 sheep. And this shepherd, Jesus says, was different because this shepherd represented what God is really like. You see, Jesus said that God really loves and cares for each one of us, just like this shepherd really loved and cared for each one of his 100 sheep. But one day, the shepherd woke up after leaving the sheep safely overnight, and he looked in his sheep pen and he counted his sheep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 97, 98, 99, and he suddenly realized something. One of his sheep was missing. So, what do you do when one of your sheep is missing? Well, some of us might say, well, 99 out of 100, that's not too bad. Don't worry about a lost sheep, but not the shepherd in this story. You see, God cares about each one of us, and this shepherd cared about the one sheep that had been lost just as much as he cared about the 99 sheep that were safe and well. So the shepherd went off and he started on a search to try and find the sheep that was missing. We're not exactly sure where the sheep had gone. But the shepherd didn't give up. He kept on searching. He kept on looking. He went through the fields. He went down to the stream. He probably even climbed around the little hills that were around the place where the sheep were kept safe. But wherever he looked, he didn't give up. You see, God doesn't give up on us even when we go in the wrong direction, even when we get lost, even when we find ourselves not doing the things that we know that we should do. God still cares for us and loves each one of us. Jesus tells us that eventually the shepherd found the sheep that he had lost. Now, if you'd been you and me, we might have been really cross, but not this shepherd. This shepherd looked at this sheep and he picked up the sheep and he carried it back to where the other sheep were. Not only that, at the end of the day, when he goes home, Jesus said the shepherd was so excited about the sheep that was lost being found that he went back home, had a party in celebration. Imagine that. God loving each one of us so much that when we get back on track in our lives, when we end up going in God's way, God holds a celebration in heaven. Wow, that must be some party. The good news is that God loves each one of us so much, and he's got a plan and purpose for each of our lives. And what we need to do is discover that plan and follow the Good Shepherd. Jesus said, I am the Good Shepherd because I lay down my life for my sheep. That means Jesus loved us so much that he was willing to die for us. That's what the cross of Jesus is all about. 2,000 years ago, that first Easter time, Jesus gave his life upon that cross to show us how much God loved us and cared for us. And then 3 days later, he came back to life so that we can know that God's plans and purposes for our life are true. And the great news is that we can follow him and we can trust him each step of the way. So, I hope that you remember this amazing parable, the parable of the lost sheep.